everyone. I'm Adam Brown, and this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, August 10th. On today's show, Ruth Dueber will be showing us how to cook monkey bread, and Bev Chandley will talk about this fall's trip to Jekyll Island, Savannah, and Charleston. But first, we want everyone to be safe while traveling about the Shell Point property, whether you're on foot or traveling by golf cart, bike, or vehicle. Please remember that the speed limit on the island is 15 miles per hour. With the busy traffic of people coming and leaving the medical center, it's important for all of us to watch out for each other. Driving above the 15 mile per hour speed limit near these high traffic areas puts everyone in danger, so please be aware of your surroundings and drive safely. It's time to get chic at Chico's. If you enjoy doing some island shopping, then come on out to Periwinkle Place on Sanibel. The staff will greet you and allow Shell Point's group to shop before their regular hours for a relaxed experience with plenty of help. You'll be able to visit other shops too, and have lunch at the Blue Giraffe. Court pickups begin on the island this Thursday at 8:30, so make sure you sign up at either service desk. It's time once again to find out what's cooking at Shell Point. Ruth Dueber is in her kitchen making some yummy monkey bread. No, it's not for the animals at the zoo, just the ones at Shell Point.
Hello, I'm Ruth Dueber, and this is what's cooking at Shell Point. And you can see I'm just getting started here. And what I'm making today is something that you're all familiar with, monkey bread. But this time I'm using biscuits. And so it just makes 5. And sometimes one of them will stick, but we'll get them out. That's fine, so we'll get rid of that. And let's get 5 of them out here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut each one in 4 pieces. And then we're going to do kind of fun things with them. So I'll get each of these cut, and you want to do this ahead of time so that you can do your dipping. And what we're going to be dipping it in is 2 tablespoons of butter and 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup. And of course you can use any kind of maple syrup you want. After the butter and the maple syrup, we have pecans, and we have 1/4 cup of finely chopped pecans, and let's see, 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon and 1/3 cup sugar. And then when you start that, you get in this mess. I made a batch a little while ago and found out that our water was off, and so I had a hard time getting my hands washed after that. Let's get the syrup in with our butter. And it takes another like 1/2 tablespoon. So we can just guess at that. That's pretty close. And so we'll give that a stir. And let's stir up our nuts and our cinnamon and our sugar. Now, when I made another batch a little while ago, I noticed that I didn't use all of the ingredients, but I think you want this to start with. So I would start with the same ingredients. So, okay, here's the fun part. Now, I use the paper cup liners because of the syrup and the sugar and everything. I would not try it without using the paper cups. And so we're going to put them in there. We're going to put 4 in each one. The original recipe said that you could try it with just 3, but I don't know. I just decided, or 4. So I just decided to do 4. And you have to kind of work them in, and you want to push them down as much as you can. There. Okay, now we've got a few more to do. This might be fun with grandkids or great-grands or something, because they love to get messy, and this is. You can kind of judge when you're getting these ready. You can look, and if you had a couple pieces that are bigger, you can kind of guess. There's the last one. Now this is going to go into a 375-degree oven, and I found out this morning that actually 15 minutes is long enough. So I'll set my timer for 12, 13, 14, 15 and have it start. Now, there we are. Now you can see this little guy here, it kind of ran over a little bit. You take them out of the oven when the time is up, and you want to let them sit for 5 minutes before you take them out of the pan. So I'm just going to uncover one of these. Ooh, so you can see it does come apart. Ooh. Almost tastes like candy. It's really good. Shouldn't talk with your mouth full, but I want to tell you I will put it up on my website, and I hope you'll try it because they're really yummy. Bye-bye.
There's a fantastic opportunity available this fall for you to discover some beautiful Southern charm. Bev Chandley, our off-site programs coordinator, is standing by to give you all the details about a week-long historic excursion to the Old South. The cities of Savannah, Charleston, and Jekyll Island are all on the menu, and there's still time to pack your bags. Here's Bev with more details.
Hi, I'm Bev Chandley, and I work at Resort Services here at Shell Point. And one of my favorite parts of my job here as the off-site program coordinator is putting together travel programs and interesting travel trips through Ising's Travel for our residents. And I'm here today to talk about one of the trips we have coming up here in October. We have this wonderful trip lined up to go to Savannah. Actually, it's Jekyll Island, Savannah, Charleston, and St. Augustine. So I'd like to tell you a little bit more about that trip as we show you some nice pictures of those places that we're going to be going. We're going to start out on our motor coach trip up to Jekyll Island. Our first night is going to be stayed at the Hampton Inn in Jekyll Island. And I've learned a little bit about Jekyll Island, and it was considered the world's richest club or resort back in its day. And it had members such as J.P. Morgan, Joseph Pulitzer, Marshall Fields, and of course the Vanderbilt family. So it has a lot of rich history, but now it's a historic landmark. So we'll be going out to Jekyll Island, and we'll have tram tours. We'll have all kinds of historic information about that area presented by our tour guides. From Jekyll Island, we're going to move on to Savannah, where we'll stay for a couple of days at the Hilton DeSoto Hotel. We have all kinds of neat things to do in Savannah, and we'll be staying right downtown. So even in your free time, residents will be able to tour some of the close by historic areas. In Savannah, we'll have a historic gardens and homes tour. We'll see the historic downtown area, and we will also be having our visit to the Owen Thomas House. It's considered one of the finest examples of English Regency architecture in the United States. From Savannah, we're moving on to Charleston, where we have a couple of days. We'll be staying at the historic Mills House Hotel. It's now called the Wyndham Grand Hotel, the Mills House Wyndham Grand Hotel. And it's a unique hotel. It's close to the Museum Mile and many historic downtown sites. As part of our Charleston experience, we're going to have a cruise of the harbor, and we'll explore Fort Sumter, National Historic Site. Now from Charleston, we're going to go to also the Magnolia Plantation, and we'll have a plantation tour and learn all about that era of the South and what was going on there, and enjoy some of the beautiful gardens and historic buildings in that area as well. And from Charleston, we head down to St. Augustine. I just couldn't see going right past St. Augustine on our way home without stopping, so I convinced Icing Straub we needed to include St. Augustine on this trip. And we'll be staying at the St. Augustine Bayfront Hilton, and we'll have a trolley tour, a tour of Flagler College, and then we'll just have a great time there in St. Augustine. Well, I hope you'll take a few minutes to either get one of these flyers at the Resident Activity Center or at the Woodland Service Desk, and maybe consider joining us on this wonderful, wonderful, historically rich trip to Savannah, Jekyll Island, Charleston, and St. Augustine.
And now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hi, and happy Wednesday. This is the happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Caitlin Vanskoy.
And I'm Bev Chandley.
And we're here to give you all the activities for Wednesday. We start with men's round robin tennis that's going on at the Woodlands at 8 o'clock. Also at 8 is pickleball. That'll be played at the game courts. At 8:45, Lily and Company Jewelers will be there for their weekly service at the Resident Activity Center. Gerasi Travel will be in the Egert Room at 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock is also the time for the watercolor group with Phil Hilton in the art studio. The card making and scrapbooking group will be meeting in the Tarpon Room at 9:15. And then we move to 10 o'clock for the ladies' Bible study. They'll be gathering in the Osprey Room. Another 10 o'clock activity is men's match play tennis. That's going on at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. 10:15 is the time for the Model Yacht Sailing Club. They'll be gathering at the Comets Lake at the Woodlands to sail their boats. Our last morning activity is Bar Ball Edition at 11:30 in the Health Club. Bev, can you tell us about the afternoon?
Sure I can. At 12:45, we have a Health Connections class, Advanced Strength and Conditioning down in the Health Club. And at 1 o'clock, we have chess in the Library Lounge. Balance and Mobility Advanced will be in the Health Club at 1:45. And at 2:30, we have Nostalgia Music Group at the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. Pilates Stretch will be in the Health Club at 3 o'clock. And at 5 o'clock, we have the singles table at the Crystal Dining Room available if you're interested. We have 7:15 Prayer and Praise at the Village Church. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is petite steak with baked potato and broccoli. For dinner, they're featuring their a la carte menu. The soup of the day is minestrone. In the Island Cafe, the sandwich special is a chicken club sandwich with side salad for $7.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are grilled ribeye for $20.95 or sesame-crusted yellowfin tuna for $18.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. After half a century of missionary service in the Congo's Ituri rainforest, my in-laws, Bill and Ella Spies, retired to California. Just a few years later, however, my father-in-law passed away prematurely. Ella, who needed care, chose to move to a nearby nursing home in the San Francisco Bay Area, where she had many friends. During the ensuing years, Nancy and I were located in Chicago, so Nancy was able to be in touch with her every couple of days by phone and visit 3 times per year to spend extended time with her mom and care for a multitude of personal needs. She kept in close touch with the nursing staff. And when we returned to ministry in Europe, Nancy continued to make 2 trips per year from Paris to San Francisco to care for her mother's needs. Eventually, Nancy's sister, Mimi, who had been serving in Ecuador, returned to the United States, locating near their brother in Denver. With Mom's memory loss becoming critical, it was then decided that Mom should move to Denver to be close to her daughter and son, both of whom were in medical work. Moving Mom was quite an experience, however. Due to her frailty, dementia, and recent hip surgery. Nancy's sister Mimi flew west to serve as escort and recorded the event as follows. Seeing Mum's condition, the airline representative in Oakland kindly upgraded us to first class. We took our seats, and as the economy class passengers filed past her, Mum's gentle eyes greeted each person with warmth. It didn't seem to matter to her that most of her life was now filled with strangers, since Alzheimer's had distanced her from her known world. I soon sensed that the other passengers in first class were becoming uneasy about this person who didn't seem to fit in their company. Fair enough. Ella didn't look like them. Her hair, while clean, was pinned back in a less than fashionable style, but it was the winter coat that seemed the most out of place. Mum had been a missionary for 52 years in the steaming hot jungle of Central Africa. So any time the temperature dropped below 80 degrees, she insisted on wearing a winter coat. After considering how I might explain the apparent difference between who Mum appeared to be and who she really was, I stood up and made an announcement to the first-class cabin passengers. Friends, excuse me. Please excuse me. Normally you have not had the privilege of traveling with a saint, but today this joy has been granted to you. My mother is a saint. Then I proceeded to explain. When the meal came, I stood to feed Mum, which could be tricky because she would allow you to put one bite into her mouth uncontested, but the second bite always had to be explained. She would first ask you if you had eaten, and then assure you that there was always plenty of food for everyone. At that point, she might even start dividing her food so that you could eat with her. I thought back to the hundreds of people she had fed off her plate in Africa. How often I had seen her take food from our table to the patients at the mission hospital. This part of her work seemed to have given her so much pleasure. It was natural for her to make sure those around her had enough to eat. Over the years, many people have asked me why a loving God will allow Mum to suffer with Alzheimer's disease when she had served him so faithfully for so long. My heart had asked the same question. I don't know, but as I watched her doze off, I realized that in a way she was still doing the will of her Heavenly Father. I may never know the interaction that went on deep in Mum's soul as God assured her that she was still loved by him. Mum seemed content with the unexplained. When the flight attendant brought us a freshly baked chocolate chip cookie, I started to stand up again to feed Mum. But my seatmate stopped me. In a tender tone, she asked if she could have the privilege of feeding my mother the cookie. As she was doing so, she explained that just seeing my mother had made her question her own life's goals. Though very successful in her work, she wondered if this was all that life had to offer. It was a comfort to me that even though my mother was suffering with dementia, God was using her in some mysterious way to touch the lives of others. Well, that's the story. Most of it anyway, as Mimi told it. Mom and Mimi made it to Denver, where Mom settled into her new home. But within a matter of weeks, she made another journey. And this time she didn't need her winter coat. God called her from Denver to the place he had prepared for her in heaven, to be welcomed not only by our Lord, but by a host of Africans, both village people and pygmies. Good people leave an inheritance to their grandchildren, wrote King Solomon in the Bible book of Proverbs 13:22. Ella Spies left the family an exemplary inheritance, a rich legacy of example. As Billy Graham has observed, The greatest legacy one can pass on to one's children and grandchildren is not money or other material things accumulated in one's life, but rather a legacy of character and faith. So like Ella, let's leave our progeny with a legacy of character and faith. And thank you for tuning in to Village Church Connections.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. Tomorrow, Beth Crenshaw will visit with some residents who are volunteers involved with the ESOL, or English Speakers of Other Languages program, here at Shell Point. And fitness instructor Ingrid Oliver will talk about the new Zumba fitness classes. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Wednesday, August 10th. I'm Adam Brown, and on behalf of all of us here at SPTV, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you again here tomorrow.